KSM show.
Okay, folks, so this is a very, very, very special show for me, because generally the broad topic is mental health. There's this joke about how, I think it's a bad joke, but there's a joke about how many are mad but few are roaming. And that simply says that there are more people with mental disorders than we know of. Today I'm going to be speaking with a lady, and then later on we'll talk to a clinical psychologist. And it's a very, very lady that everybody knows. She was in the headlines for very, very wrong reasons. And most of it involved sexual encounters, cases of nudity and everything. And of course, Ghanaians, we all judged her. Oh, this is, and we all judged her, until later on it was unraveled that she had a mental health condition. I went to a seminar just this past week, and I was surprised to see her as a panel member who came to speak on mental health. And I was really impressed with her at the same time. So I spoke to her and said she's willing to come here for a few minutes and share a few things with us so that we are more careful and we understand more what we are when we talk about mental health in this country. So she's here today to talk to me, and I wanted to show some love, as you never done before, for Abena Korkor. Put your hands together. Abena, welcome. It goes like this. That. You got it. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Great to have you here. We're going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, the show will begin. Stick around, folks. This is going to be a very, very, very important show. We will be right back. We're back. Abena, I saw you the other day. Well, before that, I had seen you on the walk with Lexus.
Yes.
Yeah. It didn't really click until I saw you again.
Okay.
And after you had spoken.
Yeah.
And it was on mental health.
Yeah.
And you are very famous, or should I say infamous, because of a few episodes that you have. And later on came to the awareness of the nation that it was a mental health issue. My first question would be, what do you have? Is it bipolar? Is it what kind of mental health issue do you?
Okay, it's bipolar disorder.
Bipolar disorder.
Yeah.
And that means?
Bipolar disorder is a mood disorder.
Mood.
We have, for the general umbrella, we have mental health disorders, and it comes under mood disorders. So bipolar is one of the mood disorders. We have other mood disorders such as depression, manic, whatever. So bipolar has the combination of maybe two extremes, depression and manic combined. So a bipolar patient, depending on the type of bipolar condition, swings between the depressive and manic phase, usually when they are not on medication. The medication sort of stabilizes you, but we will not say it entirely stops you from having episodes.
Okay.
Because just as any medication, when you're applying something, it gets to a time that it reaches a threshold, and maybe if you're not seeing your doctor regularly, or maybe your doctor is not just aware, we don't have the proper diagnostics tools here, so maybe your doctor will not be aware, or you'll not be aware yourself, and you might have a relapse. But the medication, taking the proper medication and seeking the right therapy, everything should be normal. So for bipolar disorder, you go through the depression and the manic again. So for depression, you lose interest in your daily activities. You're not excited about life again. You can even think of committing suicide. Some people actually do commit suicide. For the manic episode, you were full of life, just too much.
So it's like the other extreme.
The other extreme, we have, if it's properly managed, I think like the very beginning of the manic episodes, you become very goal oriented. So I think around the time that I was hitting my manic episode, I was running for SRC presidency. So there were some school of thoughts that were saying, okay, she might not be really political, but because of that exuberance and that goal-orientedness, like, you know, she'll be ready to go for like a high position and be ready to work for it. So I hear in other countries, let's say the musicians and the actresses and stuff that are bipolar patients, like, you know, their doctors know them and like they manage them. Okay, in this season, like, you know, she's ready to work, go the extra mile to do anything. So they are actually managed and, like, you know, their talent is tapped properly. In our part of the world, maybe you don't even know, or we don't see the benefits of the condition. So most of the time it all goes to waste. So probably if I knew I was bipolar by then and I had a good team, I could have been an effective leader.
You ran first, right?
I was running.
You were the first woman or something to that effect?
Yeah. I would have been the first.
You would have been the first.
Yeah, I would have been. So you get what do you call it? So much energy, and when it goes overboard, it can be destructive to yourself. Because let's say you are too much of excitement. Maybe you, for some people, they can get on drugs, maybe cocaine, because once you get so hyper, you never want to come to a low. Yeah. So you
need to get something to keep you that high.
You get things to keep you high. You do things that will keep you extra happy. You never want to come low. And then again, those activities can also make you do risky stuff that could lead to suicide or whatever. In my case, let's say one of my prominent symptoms was hypersexuality. So I engaged more in sexual stuff, and I felt no remorse putting pictures like nudity of myself on social media. So those are things I will not normally do.
So it happens when you have an episode.
When you have an episode, a manic episode to be precise. Yes, a manic episode to be precise. So everybody is different. I won't say all bipolar patients are going to do what I did, but depending on your environment or the things you are easily prone to, your hormonal balance and all that, it will exhibit some certain traits. You know, I think when the clinical psychologist comes, she can go more into detail. Yeah.
So is it that, so during that time, let's say you're in your manic mood.
Yeah.
Then you can do crazy things.
You become overconfident. Everything you think of is right and it's achievable.
Wow.
And you feel like Superman or Superwoman. You think you can talk to anybody anyhow and not, you know, suffer any negative consequences. Like, let's say you are Donald Trump at that moment, you can do anything.
The most powerful man in the world.
Most powerful person in the world. You actually get that feeling sometimes. So I think some of my relapses, maybe there's a personal conversation I want to have with someone, but I've not had the guts to, and you assume you're talking to the person or you're not, and you're able to, you know, be straightforward, whatever you want to say at all. And I don't know. And at that moment, you don't think there'll be any consequences. Then afterwards, the headlines are all over. Abena is that and that. And
so how did that hit you? You get into that mood, and you do something very exuberant and almost negative.
Yeah.
And then the headlines are screaming everywhere. The bashing starts. How does that? Are you affected then, or you have to go into a mood to understand what is going on?
At that time, you don't even think you've done anything wrong.
So, okay.
You don't really care.
So there's no remorse. There's nothing.
There's no remorse. There's no remorse at all. You don't feel you need to apologize. But sometimes it gets confusing. It's like, okay, they say this is a condition and I'm having a manic episode. And that's where the confusion comes in. Like, after I've gotten well, am I supposed to apologize? It's like you have malaria and you were feverish the whole time, and when you are better, you have to apologize to your family members that I was feverish the whole day. So sometimes I don't really know how to react when I'm much better. But then again, I have to, a lot of young girls will be looking up to me, so I have to put it out there that, okay, this is not the way to go about things. Maybe it's not really right to put nude pictures of yourself if you're not an artistic model that's, but you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't talk to your elders or your associates like rudely like that on social media. So yes, you have to set the record straight. But then again, if you have somebody that is behaving in such a way, and later on you find out that, okay, this is what was going on with the person, in trying to make the person know that, okay, what you did is wrong, you have to be very careful in the language that you use, because you should not say it in such a way that the person should feel like a misfit or you're damage to somebody, or let's say, because sometimes when it happens, people just draw away from me, and that alone can even give you more, bring your mood down, make you depressed and all that, because it's like, maybe I'm with a team, we are really doing something personal, we are doing something very productive, and I have a very bad manic episode and I talk to these people anyhow. At the end of the day, the people should know my true core values and what I stand for, and they should not drift away from what we were doing. So that episode should not, you should not allow that episode that the person went to define the person for the rest of your lives together. You should know that it's a condition that she's trying to manage. You're also part of the process to help her manage it better. Because the way you react towards me, let's say when we met at the forum, and you saw me and maybe I'm giving you a handshake, hey, this girl, she'll go and say that I gave her a handshake and something else. So it's everybody wants to protect their reputation and their image and all, but we should be a little bit sensitive when you know that, okay, this person is going through this. I'm sure mine was public, but I'm sure there are lots of people with episodes like all over, and people are not really relating to them well. So if you are not strong, you call back. Like, for me, I was going for SRC president on campus. So even my campaign before made me popular. Then the nudity. Then it's even a national affair. And I had to go back to school to attain my bachelor's degree. If I didn't get people to support me and I wasn't strong myself, I wouldn't have gone back to school. And I'll become a dropout. But this is an intelligent and a young girl with so much potential, and just because her mental health issue was not managed properly, she becomes a dropout and becomes a liability to society. So we just tell people, if somebody goes through a situation like that, if you're close by, please try and be a support system for the person, because most of these people that I encounter they are brilliant, talented people, and things are just going like overboard in their head because they are overthinking things in the world. Like, we want the world to be a better place, and why is it not working? And it makes things go overboard.
So when the nude pictures came out, was that the first time?
That was the first time I was having a manic episode
Did
that
you
I
know
knew
then?
of.
Did you?
No, I didn't know. I didn't
when,
know.
When did you find out that it was a mental health issue?
After that first episode, that was about February 2015 at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually wasn't feeling well. After the Pula Baloo on Facebook, I went home, went to Tema Women's Hospital, and I was referred to Accra Psychiatric Hospital. And that was when I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
I see. So that's when you understood yourself, why you had done that?
It wasn't easy to understand like that. That, you know, you be thinking, is it really that? And we find ourselves in a society where we push a lot of things on spirituality. So you wonder, is it spiritual? Is it medical?
You had moments like that you told me you were spiritual?
Yeah. And for bipolar disorder, sometimes you hallucinate. There was one point I felt I was my late auntie. I was talking like her.
Really?
I thought I was some goddess. You know, you feel I'm an Aquarius. So I was like, oh, I'm an, what do you call it, a water goddess or something.
That's how you feel.
Yeah, you not like, it's hallucinations, and you remember everything. So after you you be wondering, like, is this spiritually connected? Because you have people that will come to you to tell you that it's spiritually connected.
Yeah.
You have people that will come to you that is medical, and you'll be forced to consider everything.
Every possibility.
Then there are times you just go like, I've been living my life normal for 25 years. You know, what is this bipolar thing? So it's
before then you had not experienced anything like that.
No, it's a process. It's a process before you actually accept the fact that you're mentally ill. So I have a lot of people who call me. I have an advocacy and support, NGO group. So people call us, they'll tell me, my little sister is not taking her medication, my mom is not taking her medication. I'm like, it's not easy like that. That's for you to accept that you're not mentally fit, you know. You've been doing things okay, and we are always comparing ourselves to other people. You feel like, this person have used drugs, abused alcohol, you know, been in abusive, that person is not even mentally ill, and I'm the one that is ill, and I have to take medication for it. And you know, I have a little background in pharmacology, and you know the side effects of these drugs, and you have to take them. And it's once you're labeled bipolar, it's a chronic condition, so you will be taking medication for the rest of your life. Yeah, for the rest of it, unless there's other new diagnostic tools that you wouldn't have to take medication for. So it's a process accepting that you are bipolar. Yes, it's a process. So before you even stick to the medication, unless you are in a hospital for life, then that one the nurses will force us down your throat if you don't want to take it. So it's a process for you to accept it. Then every time you're doing something, you have to question it. Am I being normal, or this is going to lead to another episode? So, yeah, once everything is not fully discovered, I'm also always...
So now you're on medication all the time?
Yeah, I'm on medication all the time.
How often?
What I'm on right now, I just have to take it once a day.
Once a day?
Yeah, at night. I have to take it once a day.
At night?
Yeah.
And in case you miss it, then you get your manic attacks?
It doesn't happen just like you miss it one day and you have an episode. What I'm taking, I'm on mood stabilizers and antipsychotics, and it's supposed to stabilize me. And the doctor can, let's say I'm on 300 milligrams, the body gets used to it. So, and it's something that happens over a long period of time. And you don't just have a manic episode just like that. It's not like when you stop taking it, you just have it to the next day. There are lots of things that will happen. Maybe I'm in a stressful environment. I'm not processing things well.
So these are all triggers, things that can trigger it.
These are all triggers. You know, people have kids and they have postpartum depression. And you know how it all happens. It's confusing. Once it's the brain, it's quite confusing how some things come up. So you constantly have to surround yourself with people who are monitoring you. You know, Abena, maybe you're doing things slightly different. Sometimes it's annoying, but they have to ask you, are you taking your medication? Are you resting well? maybe you are having too many meetings in a day, you are doing too many projects at a time. So all those things could be signs. Maybe when you're hitting your manic episode, you would love to do so many things at a time. And in this world of multitasking, you might not really think, okay, you're really hitting the peak, but you're doing so many things, and you usually, like for bipolar, when in your hypomanic and manic, you don't sleep at all. So you be happy, oh, I'm up all day reading all my notes, doing all my proposals and all that. But as time goes on, it's like you're hitting it, and tick is just like a bomb, and it can happen maybe 1 day or 2 days. Like for this last one, I think the peak was like a day. I was actually working. I run a what do you call it, a cocktail service. So we organize people's dinners and parties. So I was doing one for an old school reunion in Cape Coast. So I had my episode at dawn. Then I felt okay. Then I went to work. We finished the dinner, everything. So it was during the dinner, that's when the pictures and messages started circulating. Then even the people got aware that, okay, hey, our hostess of the dinner cries, the lady everybody is talking about. But at that time, I was okay. Then, you know, people are trying to give a feedback, and you try to defend yourself. Then it's like, I get aggravated. My hormones like was just soaring up, and I had to be given like a very heavy dose. And graduation was around the time. I didn't want to take too much because else I won't be strong enough to go for my certificates and all that. So this graduation, I'd really been looking forward to it because I'd already deferred. I'd already had to change schools, so many things. It was like bachelor's degree was like never going to come. So it was like, okay, you have to take this medication and you might have to miss graduation. I didn't want that to happen. So it was a battle. Then eventually I went for graduation, and I was shipped off to the hospital for some time.
So you went straight after graduation? You went to the hospital?
Yes, right from the, I didn't have a graduation party, nothing like that. Straight to the hospital. And some of these things too is like, if you're somebody that is overly sensitive, or you cherish like celebrations so much, like oh, I had a manic episode, I couldn't even take pictures with my friends. I couldn't even have dinner with my family because it's you've worked hard, and you're being congratulated, and you're being awarded a certificate. At least I don't know, that's what we've been taught. You work hard, you are awarded for your hard work, and the day that you be awarded for it, like you miss it. So I don't know, I'm cheering up already. So I don't know, people don't really understand, and it's a new journey to a lot of for us, and we'll eventually get through it.
Put your hands together. So you have a clinical psychologist that I want to be speaking to, and so that we can get the other aspect. I understand, though. I understand. How did you feel about when you first discovered that it's a mental health thing and you have to be on medication, possibly a lifetime?
It was difficult. It was, I don't know. It was traumatizing. I don't know. She's a clinical psychologist, alright, but she was my roommate for something. Like they actually delegated her to monitor me.
And she was a roommate.
Yeah. So it's like, I think when I got back to school for the first episode, it took me a very long time before I could get back to lectures. And I don't know. I had given up on school, like within me. I was like, I can't do this. It affected my grades and all that. But you know, daddy keeps on pushing. That's like your only achievement for now. So hurry up and finish with it. So they supported me, my department, my dean of students. Everybody kept on pushing. You know, there will be days I stay in my room like the whole day, no bathing, no eating. You can't sleep because you've just taken the medication and it's now working in your system. And I don't know. Yeah. But I'm glad where I am. I've successfully graduated.
Yes,
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Bachelor's degree by medical science, and there are a whole lot of opportunities waiting for me out there. And I'm just grateful for all the people that supported me, people that tried to understand me. It was confusing to myself. It was confusing to a lot of people, but they tried to understand me. Whenever I am falling, they hold my hand and step by step. We all go through things, and this is what I'm going through, and I'm grateful for the people supporting me.
Wow. Well, put your hands together. We're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to meet Anita Paddy, who happens to be a clinical psychologist, who was a roommate, and we can get some more information from her as to how do we benefit or learn about mental health so that our attitudes towards mental health will change. Stick around. We'll be right back.
If you reach for that remote, I will bite you. The KSM show will be right back.
The KSM show.